Series begins with food influencer Hollis Shaw preparing festive Christmas cookies while filming content for her popular Hungry with Hollis audience. Her peaceful morning is shattered when police officers arrive at her home with devastating news. Her husband, Matthew, has died in a tragic accident. Her immediate grief is interrupted once again when the timer goes off in the kitchen. 6 months after Matthew's death, Hollis appears on the Today Show with Jenna Bush Hager to promote her new cookbook. While preparing a roasted onion dip, Hollis mentions her husband's death, which brings her to tears. Jenna quickly sends the broadcast to a commercial break. Hollis is mortified, but her manager, Chelsea, reassures her and suggests a getaway with friends from different stages of her life. Although she's in no rush to plan a trip to her Nantucket house, we meet the friends she eventually invites. Drew-Ann is a sports agent representing a popular soccer player named Posey. During an interview, Drew-Ann steps in to retract Posey's announcement that she's taking time off. Brooke appears to be a lonely housewife with an online shopping addiction. Tatum attends an appointment for a breast cancer scare, though she has little faith in her chances of survival since her mother passed away shortly after receiving the same diagnosis. Back at home, Hollis calls her daughter, Caroline, while eating mustard straight from the jar. She invites Caroline, who's still grieving her father, to join her in Nantucket, but she declines. Despite not having immediate plans, Hollis heads to Nantucket with her dog Henry and begins inviting each of her friends. Once on the island, she cleans her vacation home and takes a call from Drew-Ann, who's unsure if she can attend and seems to have bad blood with Tatum. Tatum isn't thrilled by the idea either, but Brooke is over the moon. Hollis then calls the final star. The 5th star of her 5-star weekend is Gigi, a British airline pilot who answers Hollis's call despite being in the middle of a flight. She's surprised by the invitation, but agrees to attend. Hollis puts on one of Matthew's old hats and heads to the grocery store for supplies. Drew-Ann's decision to attend becomes official after she's canceled online and given time off. Brooke's husband, Charlie, practically begs her not to leave for the weekend, as the couple appears to be in the middle of a lawsuit. Meanwhile, Tatum's husband, Kyle, can't believe she's attending because she and Hollis aren't as close as they once were. It's also revealed that Tatum has recently become a grandmother after her daughter Aubrey had a baby. Hollis prepares a full spread for her friend's Friday afternoon arrival, but Caroline is the first to make a surprise appearance. She decided to come after all and nearly leaves when Hollis reveals that her friends are also coming, but she ultimately decides to stay. On the ferry ride to the island, Brooke spots Electra, and instead of avoiding her, she walks over for a conversation. Brooke has some unexplained history with Electra that still makes things awkward, and Electra somehow knows Hollis as well. There's clearly a much bigger story here. Electra ends up taking Brooke's phone and snapping a photo of Hollis's weekend itinerary. She'll definitely be making some unannounced appearances to stir the pot among the group Hollis has brought together. Drew-Ann is the first to arrive and is excited to catch up with her goddaughter, who apparently shares things with her that she doesn't tell her mother. One by one, everyone else arrives. Tatum brings a surprise. Hollis's first boyfriend, Jack. He drove her into town for Tatum's very obvious attempt to reunite Hollis and Jack. The tension between Tatum and Drew-Ann is immediately apparent. After a house tour and room assignments, Hollis prepares dinner while Tatum searches for breast cancer survival rates and Caroline watches a video of her dad. Brooke receives a text message from Electra threatening to crash dinner. The women ask Hollis how and when she became close to Gigi, and she explains that she needed someone to talk to after Matthew died. Although Drew-Ann and Tatum both reached out, Hollis wanted someone outside her personal life to lean on, which led her to Gigi. They have never met in person, but right on cue, Gigi arrives. During dinner, Tatum steers the conversation toward the kind of sex they watch, and some are clearly more comfortable discussing sex than others. Caroline storms off, feeling that Hollis cares more about her online following than being genuine. When Hollis returns to the kitchen, she realizes she has burned the tart for dessert. The beeping instantly reminds her of the night Matthew died. Before he left, they had been arguing. Gigi checks on Hollis in the kitchen, and Hollis opens up about how she's feeling. She admits she hasn't shared the whole truth with Caroline because she doesn't want her daughter to know that she and Matthew weren't in a good place before he died. As emotions run high, Gigi excuses herself to her room, where it's revealed that she had been in a secret romantic relationship with Matthew. She listens to an old voicemail from him and breaks down in tears. Meanwhile, Hollis remains in the kitchen trying to remake her ruined berry tart. While everyone waits in the dining room, Gigi returns and Henry suddenly growls at her, leaving the group puzzled. As Hollis continues baking, the conversation shifts to her emotional state. Gigi reveals that Hollis once tried therapy, surprising the others. To explain how they became close, Gigi falsely claims she recently lost her own mother and that they bonded over their shared grief. By the time Hollis rejoins them, the group quietly agrees that she is struggling, even if she refuses to admit it. Meanwhile, Drew Ann unknowingly drinks the margarita Tatum had secretly overloaded with salt. Tatum believes the only way to get Hollis to open up is by getting her drunk during the evening's games. After debating different ideas, the group settles on a game of Never Have I Ever. The game leads to plenty of laughter and embarrassing confessions, including an old college story from Hollis that makes Tatum jealous of the deep friendship Hollis shares with Drew Ann. For a while, the lighthearted atmosphere helps everyone forget the tension hanging over the weekend. Elsewhere, Caroline runs into Aubrey and her son Otis at the grocery store. After a brief conversation, Aubrey encourages Caroline to stop isolating herself and enjoy the weekend. Back at the house, Tatum finally decides to confront Hollis directly, accusing her of burying her emotions instead of facing Matthew's death. The confrontation works, and Hollis finally unloads everything she has been carrying since losing her husband. Tatum insists she should have leaned on her closest friends, but Hollis explains that she organized the weekend specifically to escape her grief for a little while. Respecting her wishes, everyone agrees to move forward with the original plan and enjoy a pajama dance party. While Hollis and Tatum dance together, Brooke privately confides in Drew Ann about Charlie's legal troubles. She reveals that one of his interns has accused him of inappropriate behavior, though Charlie insists the allegations are false and motivated by the intern's desire for a promotion. Drew Ann questions Brooke's willingness to believe her husband so completely, making Brooke regret sharing the secret. At the same time, Drew Ann continues receiving pressure from her employer to issue a public apology. Meanwhile, Gigi quietly sneaks into Matthew's office. A flashback reveals how Gigi first met Matthew in an airport Delta lounge. Matthew, a doctor, opens up about the emotional burden of losing a 17-year-old patient, and Gigi simply listens instead of offering advice. The conversation creates an immediate connection between them. Back in the present, Brooke catches Gigi taking one of Matthew's photographs, forcing Gigi to awkwardly explain herself. Taking Aubrey's advice, Caroline visits a local bar where she reconnects with Dylan, a bartender she once knew. When Dylan casually asks about her father, Caroline lies and says he's doing well instead of admitting he has passed away. During the dance party, Tatum realizes she missed a call from her doctor about the results of her breast biopsy, sending her into an anxious spiral. As Dylan plays some of his music, Caroline admits she once had a crush on him. The moment quickly falls apart when Aubrey arrives and reveals that Dylan is both her boyfriend and the father of her child. Back at the house, Hollis becomes alarmed by a knock at the door, but relaxes when she discovers it is only Kyle and Jack. Tatum shares her doctor's voicemail with Kyle, but he can offer little reassurance beyond what she already knows. While Jack watches basketball with everyone, Drew Ann notices him repeatedly looking at Hollis and firmly warns him not to pursue anything. Gigi nearly exposes the lie about her mother's death before Brooke accidentally overloads the power by plugging in a hair straightener, plunging the house into darkness. Hollis leads Jack to the fuse box, and in the darkness they come close to kissing before the electricity returns. With the evening cut short, the women head to bed, except for Hollis and Tatum, who sneak out for a late-night bike ride. They are caught hiding in a playground by a police officer they both used to babysit, who simply tells them to head home. Sitting together on the swings, Hollis apologizes for letting their friendship drift apart. Tatum admits she barely recognizes the woman Hollis has become, and finally confesses that she recently found a lump in her breast and is terrified of what the biopsy results might reveal. Meanwhile, Dylan drives Caroline home, and Tatum notices the harmless flirting between them. Caroline later encourages Dru-Ann to write a sincere apology, though Dru-Ann ignores her advice. It also becomes clear that Caroline has secretly dropped out of college, but still hasn't told Hollis the truth. In the final flashback, Matthew and Gigi share a kiss, before retreating to separate hotel rooms. The memory convinces Gigi to leave the weekend early, but when Hollis asks her to stay, she reluctantly agrees. Next, we see a flashback to 2021, with Hollis and Dru-Ann hanging out poolside and catching up on each other's busy lives. Dru-Ann's has relationship problems, and Hollis started her social media account. As the years pass by, they have trouble connecting their schedules to meet up. It all leads up to Dru-Ann getting the call about Matthew's death. On the first new day of their trip, Saturday morning starts with Dru-Ann's statement making her situation worse, and clients are asking to drop her. The yoga instructor pops in while everyone's still sleeping, steals a bite of Hollis's berry tart, and rushes out before she's seen. Dru-Ann tries to express her work stress with Hollis, but she's only met with optimism that's not realistic. Hollis still struggles with Caroline and turns down Dru-Ann's offer to help talk to her. Despite some brewing tension, they push it down and wear their matching colors for a shopping trip in town. The group runs into Jack, who reveals to everyone that he and Hollis almost kissed. She's mortified, and even though the group moves on quickly, Hollis won't hear the end of this one. Brooke and Gigi head off on a walking tour. Tatum heads off to grab a bite to eat, and Hollis sneaks away to spend time with Dru-Ann. While on the tour, Brooke spots Elektra in the distance and pulls Gigi away to run in the opposite direction. Tatum eats at the diner where Aubrey works, and Jack steals the stool beside her. They reminisce about the past and the grudge she holds against Hollis. Hiding in a shop, Brooke explains that she had a falling out with Elektra over a football league, and Elektra unexpectedly shut her out. It's unclear how Hollis is somehow involved in Brooke's feud with Elektra, but they were clearly running in the same mom circle. Gigi helps style Brooke in new clothes that make her feel like herself. While Gigi fixes the outfit, Brooke kisses her. Caroline takes pictures at the marina and runs into Dylan again as he cleans a friend's boat. She tells him the truth about her dad passing away, and they playfully chat about the possibility that he's a bird. As she takes a photo of him on the boat, a bird poops on her, leading to smiles about the prospect of her dad pooping on her from the beyond. Dylan takes off his shirt to give to Caroline. Still shopping, Dru-Ann gets confronted by young women who are recording her, trying to get a gotcha moment. She tries to defend herself to these young women who accuse her of being just as bad as the men in her industry. That stops Dru-Ann in her tracks, a startling accusation she will have to unpack. Dru-Ann asks Hollis not to suppress her feelings to keep things light. While walking away, Dru-Ann's heel gets stuck in the pavement, and she falls and hurts the knee she hurt in college. As she rushes to grab the car and fights with Teddy Cooper about giving her a ticket, Hollis spots Caroline across the way. She runs after her and finally has the frank conversation they have needed. Hollis admits that she is in pain and needs Caroline to stop treating her with disdain. In the car, Gigi drops her phone. When Brooke picks it up, she sees a photo of Gigi and Matthew. Next, we see a flashback to the night Matthew died. Brooke waited at the hospital for Hollis to arrive. She sits on the ground with Hollis as she sobs. And now in real time, she holds a devastating secret about Hollis's late husband. Unfortunately for the group, Elektra beats them to the spa and threatens the receptionist into revealing when Hollis's party arrives. Back at home, Caroline tries to get over her crush on Dylan by focusing on her friendship with Aubrey. Before getting settled into the spa, Dru-Ann receives an ultimatum from her boss: resign or she will be fired. Tatum hands out weed mints before the spa treatments begin, but Brooke doesn't take hers and gets Gigi alone in a steam room. It doesn't take Brooke long to crack and ask about the photo of Matthew. Gigi doesn't try to skate her way out of it, and Brooke doesn't let her. After Matthew died, Gigi reached out to Hollis and they connected, even though Gigi didn't tell Hollis the truth. Gigi admits that Matthew was the first person she ever loved, which makes the situation even more complicated. Brooke's left in an impossible situation by holding on to this secret, but she needs to figure out what's best for Hollis. Dru-Anne's still suspicious of Gigi too. While high and in a secluded room, Hollis imagines talking to Matthew about how much she misses him and the little things. Their conversation is interrupted by a spa worker pulling her out for another treatment. Caroline and Aubrey raid the fridge and complain about their moms. During her massage, Brooke asks her masseuse for advice, but she reaches no conclusions. Meanwhile, Dru-Anne and Tatum broach the subject over what's fractured between them, and Tatum mentions something about Hollis's wedding. Brooke attempts to break the truth to Hollis, but Hollis is far too high to take in any new information. Dru-Anne learns some unfortunate new information about Posey dropping her as an agent and writing about her on Instagram stories. Gigi has memories of her affair with Matthew, which already has her overwhelmed, and then has a panic attack when she's nearly trapped in the steam room. While Brooke and Hollis are in the jacuzzi together and getting closer as friends, Elektra spots them from across the way, but doesn't intervene. Caroline realizes that her mom has lost her own parents, Tatum's mother, and now her husband. She also admits to Aubrey that she's failing out of pre-med. After helping out Gigi, Dru-Anne gets to know her a little better, and they bond over their complaints about Brooke and Tatum. Gigi admits to Dru-Anne that she recently had a relationship end, without giving the specifics, and that's why being social has been difficult. Tatum's annoyed when she tries to pay for the treatments, but learns Dru-Anne already covered the bill. Before they can leave the spa, Elektra finally makes her presence known to the group. She uses the moment to drop the bomb that she and Hollis co-chaired an event together last year, which shocks Brooke and hurts her feelings. Hollis admits that she's been kind to Elektra to keep the peace, but Brooke's still upset that Hollis lied. Once they return home, Brooke furiously packs her bags to leave. She doesn't want to stay, but she doesn't want to go home to deal with Charlie. She's trapped in her life, and even though she's mad at Hollis, she decides to stay. Dru-Anne and Tatum have it out after Tatum pays Dru-Anne back for the spa. Tatum has been holding a grudge over a comment Dru-Anne made over her wedding heels. They're all at an impasse as Caroline takes group photos on the bluff. Meanwhile, Hollis revisits one of her old recipe videos, smiling as she reads the heartfelt comments from longtime followers. Chelsea calls to praise the positive content Hollis has been sharing throughout the weekend, and encourages her ahead of the group's elegant dinner. At the same time, Gigi decides she can no longer hide the truth about Matthew. Brooke, meanwhile, is left shaken after Charlie avoids denying her accusations, making her question where everyone stands. Before leaving, Gigi loses her nerve, while Brooke ignores the evening's black and white dress code by arriving in jeans and a green blouse. At dinner, the growing tension between Brooke and Gigi is impossible to ignore. Before Gigi can reveal her secret, Brooke admits she kissed Gigi, shifting the conversation toward how grief changes people. Elsewhere, Dru-Anne learns Posey lied about needing time off to attend her boyfriend's Knicks game, clearing Dru-Anne's name but leaving her conflicted. Caroline waits outside for Tyler after meeting him at the restaurant, while Hollis returns to the table declaring that work is all she has left. Brooke also admits she may be attracted to women, and Tatum becomes visibly distressed after spotting her doctor, choosing drinks with the group over confronting him. The women continue their night at a local bar. Brooke ignores her husband's calls and removes her wedding ring. Gigi's friend John Mark unexpectedly arrives and urges her not to tell Hollis the truth. Hollis also discovers Elektra has publicly revealed their weekend itinerary online. Dru-Anne pushes Brooke to stop hiding from her feelings, while Tatum's fear over her medical results spirals. After confronting Posey, Dru-Anne warns her that reckless behavior could ruin her future. Tatum then lashes out at Hollis for sharing her medical concerns with Dru-Anne and exposes Caroline's private struggles. Later, Gigi writes Hollis a heartfelt letter confessing everything about Matthew, with John Mark reminding her that honesty may ease her guilt but will likely end their friendship. Brooke finds comfort dancing with tour guide Sunny, who genuinely enjoys her company. Drew Ann finally realizes Caroline failed out of school rather than simply taking a break, prompting Hollis to call her daughter. Caroline tearfully admits she's terrified Hollis will remarry and leave Matthew's memory behind. Seeking comfort, Caroline kisses Dylan, and the two are caught together by Officer Teddy at the lighthouse. Meanwhile, Jack walks Hollis home, and they finally share a long-awaited kiss. Yet as it happens, Hollis sees Matthew in her mind. Overwhelmed, she breaks down in tears, and Gigi rushes in to hold her. In a flashback to 6 months earlier, we see Gigi boards a plane expecting to travel with Matthew, only to realize he never arrived. While searching for answers, she discovers Hollis's heartbreaking Instagram post announcing Matthew's death. Devastated, she breaks down with John Mark. Although Gigi attends the funeral, she stays in the background and never speaks to Hollis. Afterward, Hollis isolates herself until Gigi reaches out online, offering support with no expectations. Their messages slowly develop into an unlikely friendship, built on shared grief. Back in the present, Hollis and Gigi spend Sunday morning walking along the beach. Hollis opens up about missing both her father and Matthew, admitting she feels guilty whenever she experiences happiness. Every word deepens Gigi's guilt, knowing Matthew was on his way to see her before he died. Hoping to lighten the mood, Gigi convinces Hollis to run into the ocean fully clothed, giving them a rare carefree moment. Meanwhile, Caroline and Dylan remain at the police station after their arrest. Dylan confesses he genuinely likes Caroline, while she admits she only used him. Aubrey arrives furious, taking Dylan home but refusing to help Caroline. At the house, Brooke happily texts the woman she met the previous night, while Drew Ann learns Posey has been suspended and that her own career has been saved. Charlie arrives begging Brooke to return home, but with encouragement from the others, she finally stands up for herself and ends their marriage. After Hollis and Gigi head upstairs, Brooke reveals Gigi's affair with Matthew to Drew Ann and Tatum, leaving them stunned. The women secretly question Gigi, who tearfully calls herself a terrible person while explaining everything. Meanwhile, Jack posts Caroline's bail and drives her home, sharing stories about Hollis that help Caroline better understand her mother. The group plans to quietly send Gigi away before Hollis discovers the truth, but their plan falls apart. Just as Gigi begins admitting she hasn't been honest, Caroline returns home and reveals she was arrested after being caught with Dylan. The confession sparks another heated argument, with Tatum accusing Hollis of creating an impossible, picture-perfect life for everyone around her. Their fight is interrupted by the surprise arrival of an ice cream truck Hollis had arranged. When Hollis realizes Gigi has disappeared, she searches the house before rushing outside. As tensions explode, Brooke finally ends the deception by revealing the painful truth. Gigi had been having an affair with Matthew. We see a flashback to a year earlier as Hollis, Matthew, and Caroline leave Nantucket together. Tension lingers between Hollis and Matthew, though they hide it from Caroline. During the drive, Hollis notices someone identified only as G texting Matthew. He dismisses it as a nurse from work, and Hollis reluctantly accepts the explanation. In the present, Brooke's revelation leaves Hollis reeling. She immediately drives through the rain to confront Gigi herself. Along the way, she imagines Matthew beside her, insisting she always knew he was cheating. At the ferry terminal, Hollis asks Gigi if the affair is true. Gigi admits everything without making excuses, explaining that their relationship continued through places like Paris and San Diego. When she confesses she loved Matthew, Hollis quietly drives away, devastated. Instead of returning home to face her friends, Hollis stops to buy ingredients for the planned pizza night. Back at the house, everyone is stunned when she calmly begins cooking as if nothing happened. The emotional dam finally breaks when she spills cornmeal, triggering memories of the day Matthew died. Overcome with grief, Hollis lashes out, smashing jars of sauce and striking the kitchen with a broom before collapsing in tears. Her friends comfort her, later finding her in the bathtub where she remembers losing her mother as a child. The women gather for an honest conversation, agreeing to admit the fears they've been hiding. Hollis shocks everyone by confessing she now realizes she had always suspected Matthew was unfaithful. Brooke admits she's afraid of embracing the life she truly wants, while Dru-Ann confesses that her identity has become consumed by work. Although Tatum avoids discussing her own health concerns, the group's emotional honesty begins healing old wounds. Elsewhere, Caroline unsuccessfully tries apologizing to Aubrey before unexpectedly running into Gigi at a bar. Gigi encourages Caroline to see Hollis with more compassion. Their conversation is interrupted when Elektra recognizes Gigi, remembering seeing her with Matthew in San Diego. Panicked, Gigi rushes outside and becomes sick, leaving Caroline increasingly suspicious. Back at the house, Hollis notices the pineapple she bought for Gigi's pizza and angrily throws it outside, symbolically letting go of their friendship. She asks whether Caroline deserves to know the truth about Gigi and Matthew, while Brooke texts Sunny about another date and Dru-Ann begins repairing her relationship with Posey. Hollis and Tatum finally reconcile during a heartfelt conversation by the pool. Their peaceful moment is abruptly interrupted when Caroline arrives at the house, carrying an exhausted Gigi to the front door. Next, we see a flashback to the day Matthew died, revealing his final moments with Hollis. Their strained marriage is on full display as Matthew becomes upset when Hollis stays focused on filming a baking video instead of admiring a cardinal outside. Sensing something is wrong, Hollis asks whether everything is okay and questions his unexpected stop in Paris. Matthew insists it's only a layover on his way to Berlin, hiding the truth. After sharing a goodbye kiss, he leaves for the airport, looks at the sandwich Hollis packed for him, and calls Gigi, telling her they need to talk, implying he planned to end their affair. In the present, Gigi sleeps off the previous night's drinking, while Tatum, Dru-Ann, and Brooke jokingly debate ways to get revenge for Hollis. Downstairs, Hollis quietly looks after everyone before discovering Jack cleaning her gutters in the middle of the night. Despite everything she's endured, she lets him stay, and after an emotional conversation, they share a kiss that leads them upstairs. The next morning, Jack prepares breakfast and promises they can take their relationship as slowly as Hollis needs. Gigi returns with pastries and privately tells Hollis one last painful truth. Matthew had intended to choose Hollis, not her. After checking the accident report, Hollis realizes Matthew had indeed been driving home. Although she decides to forgive Gigi, she makes it clear they can never be friends again and asks her never to contact her. Gigi leaves with a cold farewell from the others as Hollis prepares one final breakfast. Finding Matthew's protein powder reminds everyone of him, and the group heads to the beach to scatter its contents into the ocean as a symbolic goodbye. Elsewhere, Caroline reconciles with Aubrey, who admits her relationship with Dylan is over. The conversation also makes Caroline realize her father truly had an affair. At the beach, Tatum receives a difficult phone call from her doctor, while Brooke reassures her children that their family will get through the divorce. Dru-Ann ignores another work call, determined to rethink her future, and the friends promise to reunite on Nantucket the following year. After everyone departs, Hollis returns to an empty house and begins baking again. Caroline unexpectedly comes home, deciding she needs her mother after all. Brooke reunites with Sunny on the ferry, Dru-Ann decides to launch her own agency, and Tatum tells Kyle that although her lump was benign, doctors found abnormal cells that require treatment. Hollis later tells Chelsea she's taking time away from work to focus on herself. While walking the beach with Caroline, she runs into Jack once more, and although they're taking things slowly, Hollis finally embraces the possibility of love and a new beginning.